Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. Network is AFR Talk, the American Family Radio Talk Network. Honored and pleased to welcome to our decision maker line Peter LaBarbera, the president of Americans for the Truth about homosexuality. And last time we talked to Peter, and Peter, welcome back to Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Oh, hey, thank you, Brian, and thanks for all your support for me when I was up in Canada there, the land of the gay thought police.
Boy, I guess so. You know, the last time we talked, Peter, was when you were in the throes of dealing with the immigration authorities in Canada. They had detained you when you landed at the airport, I think in Regina or wherever it was. You were detained, and they were trying to decide whether even to let you in the country. And then we talked to you, and you were released and able to go and meet your schedule and the speaking engagements. And then we heard, next thing we heard, I'm seeing pictures of you in handcuffs. And we weren't able to get hold of you. We tried to get hold of you, and it turns out they confiscated everything you had, including your cell phone, so we had no way even to get in contact with you. So tell us, walk us through what happened after you got released from detention by immigration, what happened subsequently, and why they landed on you like a falling safe.
Well, Brian, this is what happens when you hang out with the bravest guy in Canada, who's Bill Watcott, who is a pro-life and pro-family warrior. And he had planned to go out to University of Regina with his truth protest, saying he had a sign that said sodomy is a sin, another sign that said Jesus saves sinners, and then pro-life, the big placards, one of a unborn baby, 8.5 weeks, another one of a slaughtered unborn baby. And he had already won under Canadian courts the right to be, under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the right to be at the campus. So he did not think he was going to get arrested. The gay activists are saying this was a publicity stunt, but he wants to get out the truth.
Okay, now Peter, let me interject here because I want to tack this down, because the meme that's out there on the left when they talk about, because there's been a lot of discussion about what happened to you up there in Canada, is, well, you guys were trespassing. You guys were breaking the law. It's no wonder they got arrested. But your point is, this Bill Watcott, that he had the right to be at a public campus under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which had been affirmed twice by Canadian courts. I think it's important to establish that he had, and you as his friend, had a legal right to be there.
Absolutely. He won that right because that's the kind of guy he is. And the left knows full well that this was an abridgment of free speech. The university, of course, the left-wing leaning university doesn't want Bill Watcott or me there. I passed out a simple flyer, Brian, about mainly focusing on the health risks of homosexual behavior. They don't want their students to see that, and so they say, we want you out. But the whole purpose of Bill going there and myself was to be a testimony to the truth.
Well, and you would think it's a college campus, Peter, and you're there to disseminate information, you're there to participate in dialogue, you're there to participate in debate. Nobody can pretend that the issue of homosexual rights and its treatment under the law is not one of the, if perhaps not the major issue that's confronting culture in Canada and the United States today. It's a relevant topic. People need information if they're going to think clearly about what our public policy ought to be. And you're handing out information about the health risks involved in LGBT behavior. I mean, this isn't some a kind of tub-thumping deal. This is truth. This is biological information. It's medical information. And you're talking about, this is amazing. The incidence of anal cancer, approximately 80 times higher than that of the general population. You'd think if you cared about the health of people involved in the LGBT lifestyle, that would be an important piece of information to have. We don't want anybody to get this kind of cancer because we love people. We love them too much. We want them to live healthy, satisfying lives. We don't want them to participate in a behavior that gives what obviously must be an exceptionally painful kind of cancer at 80 times the risk of the rest of the population. We love people enough to tell them the truth. But your point is this is what you're disseminating, and they can't handle the truth, apparently, in Canada.
Yeah, they can't handle the truth, so they block the truth. And of course, they're trying to distort now because they know that most people think this is ridiculous. This hate propaganda in Canada, which is actually have pro-family people scared to tell the truth. But absolutely, Brian, I was passing out information. Another fact I passed out was on syphilis. 75% of the reported primary and secondary syphilis cases were among men who have sex with men. That was 2012. My flyer talks about viral hepatitis being linked to high-risk gay sex. Also, domestic violence is higher among gays, lesbians, and bisexuals than heterosexuals. This is what I was talking about. But they didn't want that information there. So what they did was they called the cops. The cops came. They gave Bill Watcott an ultimatum. You either leave or you're going to get arrested. He got arrested because he maintained his right to be there. And I just felt that Bill is such a truth warrior. I didn't want to walk away from him, so I decided to pay that price as well.
Now, they originally charged you with trespassing, but then later they changed it to mischief. What's up with that?
I guess there is no trespassing law in the books anymore, that wording, so they changed it to mischief. Now,
so in other words, Peter, what they did is they arrested you first, and then they found something to charge you with later.
Well, I don't know the details of the law, but that's what it was. I was put in a jail cell. They took my glasses. They took my wedding ring, of all things. I asked for a Bible. They wouldn't let me have one, and I was there for the night. And that's my first time in jail, Brian. I'm sort of a Boy Scout. Well, I used to be able to say Boy Scout until the Boy Scouts went south, right?
Right.
But that's my first time in jail. I don't recommend it, but we will be going back to clear our name in Canada because I hope to help freedom grow in Canada. I mean, it's amazing the censorship and the self-censorship that's going on in that great nation.
So you've got a court date now. The charge is mischief, which sounds to me pretty vague. I mean, that just sounds really vague to me. And so you wonder what will happen to your legal. I mean, if there's any kind of justice, you wouldn't have been arrested in the first place. But the charge of mischief, you've got a preliminary hearing scheduled for May 26th. And I think I understand from what you have said that you hope that you will have a lawyer there who will be able to plead not guilty for you so that you do not have to actually go back into Canada. But that does create the possibility, if the charges are pressed, that you may have to return to Canada for a trial.
Yes, I think so, and I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope common sense prevails. They've got they supposedly respect religious freedom under their Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and so this is really pushing the case. And the left, I think, is emboldened because they won a hate propaganda prosecution against Watcott, I think a couple of years ago. And so I think they're feeling that now's the time to go after him again. But this guy is fearless, and he goes out no matter what and just tells the truth about homosexuality and abortion.
So if people would like to give some help, Peter, and I want to finish up by having you talk about sort of the larger implications of what's happened to you here in Canada. But if people would like to provide some help, there's going to be some legal expenses for the legal defense here, Bill Watcott and yourself. And we'll get this information up on our Focal Point Facebook page. But if people want to grab a pen and a pencil and jot down an address where they can send a contribution to help with the legal expenses here for these true truth warriors, what would that be, Peter?
Okay, well, there's an article at AmericansForTruth.com, but if it's okay with you, Brian, I'll read the actual address here of my attorney, whose name is Tom Schuck. Okay, so I'm pulling that up, and it is his law firm, which will be handling the legal defense of both me and Bill Watcott. Okay, I'm waiting for it here. Here it goes. Okay. Sorry for the delay.
No, that's fine.
Okay, Tom Schuck, it's his law firm, and here's the address. Okay, it is the Bill Watcott, and that's spelled WHATCOTT, Bill Watcott, and Peter LaBarbera Defense Fund. And then it's NSWB Law Firm, Box 8, and that's at 319 Souris Avenue, which is SOURIS, Weyburn, which is WEYBURN, Weyburn, Saskatchewan, Canada, and it's got one of those crazy Canadian zip codes, which is S, the number 4, H as in Harry, the number 2, J as in Jack, and the number 8.
Okay, I'm putting that up on our Facebook page right now, Peter, so I'll finish adding the information in. So if you didn't get a chance to write that down, you can go to the Focal Point Facebook page. I'll have that address posted there in the next several minutes if you'd like to make a contribution to help them out. Well, Peter, let's look at the larger issue here of what this kind of indicates about where our culture is when it comes to the issue of dealing with the truth about homosexuality.
Well, America, we can't gloat too much. We are freer than Canada, of course, but I don't think we are headed the wrong direction. Look at the New Mexico case. Christian photographers now, after all their legal pleadings are over, they will be forced in the future to take pictures, say example, at a gay wedding case, and you better believe there's some homosexuals who are going to line up and request that photography studio shoot pictures at their gay wedding. You better believe that one.
Well, and you would think about this, Peter, talking about that photographer, for example. You got the baker in Oregon that's under similar threat. You got a baker in Colorado that's facing legal charges, a florist in Washington, all for exactly the same thing, just making a choice not to participate in a same-sex ceremony. You know, this photographer was fined $6,700, and I think they got that worked out. But let's say she gets fined another $6,700 the next time she turns down a same-sex ceremony, and she decides she's not going to pay it. I mean, where you wind up if you don't pay a fine, I would assume, is going to be you're going to be incarcerated somewhere. I mean, we're just one step away from pro-family folks in America winding up the same place you did, sleeping on a floor in a cement cell. If Bill Watcott hadn't loaned you a cot, you'd have been sleeping on a cement floor in a 5.5 by 8 foot cell. So, I mean, it sounds to me, Peter, like we may not be that far away from that moment. So, got 30 seconds. What should we do about it?
Well, yeah, we have to stand up for freedom, and that's what it's all about. And we have to insist that the Republican Party not back down, which they're doing, have them stand up for freedom, because this is exactly where it's headed. The left wants to decide for everybody what constitutes hate and which viewpoints can be heard.
Our guest has been Peter LaBarbera, president of Americans for Truth. Encourage you to go to his website. We have got the address for his Legal Defense Fund on our website. Go there, Focal Point Facebook page, and you can help out. Peter, we're glad you're home. God bless you, and we just admire you so much for standing tall and strong for the truth. Talk to you again, my friend.
Thank you, Brian. God bless.
God bless you, Peter.
Merry Easter, too.
Yeah, happy Easter to you. We'll be right back after the news. Don't go anywhere. Focal Point, AFR Talk. Stay with us.